Have you ever walked away from a gathering, not lighter, but heavier? The room was filled with smiles, chatter, and familiar faces, but you returned home exhausted, your chest tight, your spirit strangely dimmed. You tell yourself, I should be grateful. At least I am not alone. At least I still have people around me. But deep inside, you know, something in those interactions quietly drained you. Many seniors know this hidden fatigue. You attend reunions because you fear losing connection. You show up at neighborhood events because you don't want others to whisper, she has no one. You keep old friendships alive because they once stood by you. Perhaps they even came to your spouse's funeral, and you feel you owe them loyalty. And yet, each time you meet them, you pay a price. Their words echo in your mind long after you've returned home. They boast of money or their children's achievements. They compare, they criticize, they compete. And you sit there politely, nodding, though inside you are shrinking. This is not the loneliness of being physically alone. This is the loneliness of being unseen while surrounded by people. And it may be more dangerous than solitude itself. The Buddha taught, if you walk with fools, you will suffer as they suffer. If you walk with the wise, you will share in their peace. We often think we must stay in every group that once knew us, but not all companionship is nourishing. Some ties keep us alive. Others quietly strangle the spirit. In our later years, we no longer have endless energy to give away. Every hour matters. Every encounter shapes our health. And if we spend that precious time with people who poison our peace, we trade away the very joy we are seeking. Tonight, let us speak honestly about 5 types of people who eat away at our spirit, and why, especially in old age, we must learn to step back. This is not about hatred or anger. It is about wisdom. It is about protecting the fragile flame of your well-being. We will begin by understanding why we often feel trapped in these circles, unable to leave even when we are hurt. Then we will look at the 5 faces of those who drain us. Finally, we will end with the gentle but firm practice of stepping away with compassion, but also with strength. You are not wrong for wanting peace. You are not selfish for wanting distance. You are not weak for saying enough. Your soul has carried much already loss, change, aging, grief. It deserves kindness, space, and light. And sometimes that kindness begins not by adding more people into your life, but by carefully, wisely letting a few go. Many seniors ask themselves in silence, if these people drain me so much, why do I keep showing up? The answer is rarely simple. Human connection is one of the deepest needs of the heart. Even when the connection wounds us, the fear of being completely alone can feel even heavier. From childhood, we were taught that belonging matters. At school, we learned to fit in, even if it meant hiding parts of ourselves. In adulthood, we built careers, families, reputations, all woven into the fabric of social life. And in our later years, when losses accumulate, we cling even tighter to whatever threads remain. There is also loyalty. Perhaps these friends were once kind, once supportive, once present in moments of grief. We remember who attended the funeral, who visited us in the hospital, who shared meals when our spouse was still alive. Gratitude ties us down. They were there for me, so I must stay, even if it now hurts me. And then there is pride. Seniors often feel that withdrawing from a group will lead others to say, "She has become bitter. He has no friends. They are all alone." We fear being pitied. We fear being judged. We fear becoming invisible. The Buddha, however, spoke clearly. Clinging to what no longer serves you is the root of suffering. Staying in harmful circles out of fear or pride does not bring peace. It only deepens exhaustion. Imagine carrying a basket of spoiled fruit. You keep holding it because you once paid for it, because it once tasted sweet, because you fear others will mock you for letting it go. But the longer you carry it, the heavier it grows, and the rot spreads to everything else you touch. This is how toxic connections work in later life. To understand why you remain is not to shame yourself, it is to see clearly. And once you see clearly, you can begin to choose differently. Ask yourself gently, do I attend this gathering because it nourishes me, or because I fear judgment if I stay home? Do I spend time with this person because I feel alive in their presence, or because I dread the gossip if I withdraw? Do I continue this relationship because of gratitude from the past, or because it still brings goodness into my life now? The Buddha taught, association with the wise brings happiness. Association with the foolish brings sorrow. Wisdom means choosing your companions as carefully as you choose what you eat or drink. You would not drink poisoned water just because it is offered politely. Why then drink in poisoned words and company out of habit? This is why we must first name the truth. Many seniors stay in draining relationships, not because they bring joy, but because fear, pride, and loyalty keep them bound. Naming this truth is the first step toward freedom. You do not need to belong everywhere to belong to yourself. And sometimes, the most compassionate act you can take for your soul is to step back, not with anger, not with hatred, but with clarity and care. There are people who cannot meet without turning the conversation into a stage. They talk of money, of houses, of their children's promotions, of travels and possessions. Their words are less about sharing joy and more about proving worth. And as they speak, you may find your chest tightening, your mind drifting, your spirit shrinking. For seniors, this type of person can be especially painful. Why? Because aging often strips away the outer symbols society prizes: jobs, income, youth, status. When someone sits across from you counting their victories, it can awaken feelings of inadequacy. Have I achieved enough? Do I still matter? Is my life less valuable because I no longer had these things to show? The Buddha once said, comparison is the thief of joy. When you measure yourself against another, peace leaves the heart. Boasters thrive on comparison. They are not truly speaking to connect. They are speaking to climb. And the more you listen, the more you are pulled into their game. But you did not come to this stage to compete. You came seeking warmth, companionship, understanding. Instead, you leave the meeting more tired than before, carrying invisible wounds. It is important to see this clearly. The problem is not that you lack accomplishments. The problem is that this person cannot stop inflating their own. Their need to boast is their suffering, their emptiness, their endless hunger for validation. But just because they suffer does not mean you must be their audience. Imagine you are a garden. Every word you hear is like water falling on your soil. If the water is clean, flowers bloom. If the water is poisoned with pride and arrogance, your flowers wither. The choice is not whether the rain will fall. You cannot stop others from speaking, but whether you choose to stand in it or step aside. How then do you respond to the boaster? One way is silence. Do not feed their pride with endless nods and questions. Another is gentle redirection. That's wonderful. But tell me, how are you? Truly? Sometimes this shifts the conversation. Often, it does not. And that is when wisdom whispers. Step back. The Buddha taught, do not associate with those who harm your peace. This does not mean you hate them. It means you choose not to let their boasting become the constant background music of your life. For seniors, energy is precious. Every gathering, every conversation costs something. And if you are paying in peace to buy someone else's performance, it is too high a price. Remember this truth. You are enough as you are. Your worth is not measured by houses, by children's success, by the numbers in a bank account. Your worth is measured by the kindness you carry, the wisdom you have gained, the compassion you offer. So when the boaster speaks, remind yourself quietly, I do not need to compete. I do not need to compare. I will not let this drain me. And if necessary, allow yourself the freedom to walk away. Some people enter a room and the light dims. It does not matter if the day is bright, if the tea is warm, if the gathering was meant for joy soon. Every word from their lips turns toward what is wrong. They complain about their health, the government, the weather, their neighbors, their children. Nothing is ever enough. Nothing is ever good. For seniors who already carry heavy hearts from loss, illness, or uncertainty, the endless complaints of others can feel like an anchor tied to your chest. You may enter the room with energy, but you leave drained, your spirit heavier than when you arrived. The Buddha once said, what we dwell upon, we become. If we feed on bitterness, bitterness grows in us. If we water anger, anger blooms. And when we sit too long in the presence of those who complain without pause, their seeds of negativity begin to take root in our soil. At first, you may think, I should be patient. I should listen. I should offer comfort. And sometimes, compassion calls for this. But when complaint becomes a person's identity, when they refuse to see even a spark of goodness, listening no longer heals, it poisons. The danger of the complainer is subtle. They do not boast, they do not attack. Instead, they drip sorrow into every corner of the room until all joy is drowned. They can make you believe that life is darker than it truly is, that hope is naive, that peace is impossible. But this is illusion. The Buddha taught, life is suffering, but within suffering, there is also the path to liberation. To only see the suffering and never the path is blindness. To surround yourself with those who insist on blindness is to walk in circles, never moving forward. Think of your spirit as a lamp. When you spend time with those who complain endlessly, their words are like gusts of wind, blowing against your flame again and again. If you stay too long, your light weakens. Sometimes the kindest act you can take for yourself is to shield your lamp, to step away from the wind. How then do we respond? With compassion, but with boundaries. You may say, I hear your struggle, but I also want to notice what is still good. Or you may gently redirect. Tell me one thing today that went right. If they refuse, if they only return to bitterness, then wisdom allows you to shorten the time you spend together. For seniors, time is precious. Every hour you spend is part of your remaining treasure. To give that treasure away to constant negativity is to waste what could have been spent in peace or with those who bring light. Remember this truth. Suffering is real, but so is joy. If you spend your days only with those who magnify pain, you will forget the taste of peace. So when you notice your spirit dim after leaving someone's company, ask yourself, did I just spend an hour drinking poison? If the answer is yes, then perhaps it is time to step back not with cruelty, but with care for your soul. The Buddha said, choose your companions with wisdom, for their path becomes your path. If you walk beside those who only look at the ground, you will forget the sky above you. But if you walk with those who lift their eyes, who see both pain and beauty, then your own steps will feel lighter. Some people do not speak in loud boasts or endless complaints. Their power is quieter, but more dangerous. They use guilt, obligation, and subtle pressure to bend others to their will. For seniors, this manipulation often hides under the mask of care. They may say, if you were a real friend, you would come. Or, after all I've done for you, how could you say no? Sometimes it sounds like kindness. I worry about you. That's why you must listen to me. But beneath the words is a chain, pulling you where they want you to go. The Buddha warned, attachment is the root of suffering. Manipulators attach ropes to our hearts, tying knots of guilt, fear, and duty. And if we are not mindful, we find ourselves living not from freedom, but from someone else's control. Why are seniors especially vulnerable to this type? Because many of us were raised to value loyalty, respect, and gratitude. We do not want to be unkind. We fear being seen as selfish. And so we stay quiet when someone uses our generosity as their weapon. But silence has a cost. The manipulator drains not through boasting or complaining, but through stealing your freedom. You no longer choose because you wish to. You choose because you are afraid not to. This is not true friendship. True friendship is offered freely, without chains. The Buddha said, in true companionship, there is no fear, no debt, only peace. Imagine your heart as a bird. A friend should encourage your wings, your freedom, your flight. A manipulator clips your feathers, keeping you close so you serve their needs. And over time, your spirit forgets how to fly. How then do we respond? First, by recognizing the chain. Notice when your choices are guided not by joy, but by fear of disappointing someone. Ask yourself, if I were not afraid of their reaction, would I still say yes? If the answer is no, you are under manipulation. Second, by practicing compassionate firmness. You may say, I care for you, but I cannot do this now. Or, I appreciate what you've done, but I must choose what is best for me. These words may feel heavy at first, especially if you are used to pleasing others. But each time you speak them, you reclaim a feather, a piece of your freedom. The manipulator may resist. They may grow angry, withdraw, or double their efforts. But remember, their reaction is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is your peace. The Buddha taught, you are your own refuge. No one else can walk your path for you. To allow others to constantly steer your steps is to abandon your own path. For seniors, life is too short to be lived under someone else's control. You have carried burdens long enough. Your final years should not be spent carrying guilt that is not yours. So when you sense manipulation, breathe deeply and remind yourself, I am free. I can choose. My peace matters. And then, with compassion but also with strength, step away from those who would clip your wings. Some people carry sharp tongues like hidden knives. They may not boast, they may not complain, they may not even try to manipulate, yet their presence leaves wounds. Every word becomes a measure, every glance a judgment, every silence a verdict. For seniors, this type of person is especially painful. Why? Because as we age, our vulnerabilities grow more visible. Our bodies change, our memories fade, our pace slows. We may rely more on others, and the critic notices. They do not offer encouragement. They point out flaws. You've gained weight. Your memory isn't what it used to be. Why can't you keep up? Sometimes they disguise judgment as concern. I'm only saying this for your own good. But concern that cuts is not concern, it is criticism. The Buddha taught, words have the power to both destroy and heal. Choose them wisely. The critic forgets this. Their words destroy. And when you spend too much time with them, you begin to destroy yourself. You internalize their voices, carrying them inside your head, repeating their judgments even when they are not in the room. The danger of the critic is not only what they say, but what they awaken in you. Self-doubt, shame, fear. You may leave their company feeling smaller, less capable, less worthy. Over time, this corrodes the soul. Imagine your heart as a garden. Encouraging words are sunlight and rain. Critical words are weeds and stones. If you invite too many critics into your garden, the flowers cannot breathe. How then do we respond? First, by remembering this truth. Their judgment is not the measure of your worth. Your body, your age, your pace, these are not failures. They are the natural unfolding of life. The Buddha said, just as a candle cannot burn without fire, so men cannot live without a spiritual life. What matters is not whether your knees ache or your memory slips, but whether your spirit continues to shine. Second, by setting boundaries. When criticism arises, you may say, "I appreciate your concern, but those words do not help me." Or simply, "Please stop. I need encouragement, not judgment." If they refuse, you must decide how much of your garden you are willing to let them trample. Sometimes compassion means walking away so your flowers can grow again. For seniors, each word you hear matters. You do not have endless time to recover from wounds. So choose carefully who speaks into your life. Let in those who water your soul, not those who cut it down. Remember this truth. You are not defined by criticism. You are defined by the kindness you have given, the love you have carried, the wisdom you embody. Those cannot be erased by the careless words of others. So when the critic speaks, breathe deeply and remind yourself, I am more than their words. I am enough. And if necessary, take the brave step of closing the door to their constant judgment. The Buddha taught, better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Seek out those who speak peace into your life, and let the critics fade into the distance, where their voices can no longer touch your soul. There are people who smile when you suffer and frown when you succeed. Their hearts are stirred not by compassion, but by comparison. When you share a small victory, a grandchild's visit, a day of good health, a joyful memory, they shift in their seat, change the subject, or remind you of what you still lack. Envy is one of the most silent poisons of human connection. The Buddha taught, do not be jealous of the success of others, for their happiness does not lessen your own. But the envious live as if every joy must be divided, as if your light makes their own smaller. They cannot celebrate you without feeling diminished themselves. For seniors, this type of relationship can be deeply painful. In later life, moments of joy are precious. When health declines, when losses mount, when days feel heavy, a single smile, a single happy story becomes a treasure. To share it with someone envious is to watch that treasure trampled. The envious rarely show their colors openly. They may disguise jealousy as a joke. Well, aren't you lucky? Or as advice. Don't get too comfortable, things can change quickly. But beneath their words lies a truth. They cannot stand to see you at peace. The danger of envy is not only in them, but in you. Over time, being around the envious can make you dim your own light. You share less. You shrink your joy. You silence your gratitude just to keep their bitterness from spilling over. Slowly, you begin to believe that it is safer not to shine at all. But the Buddha taught, thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Your joy does not take away from others. Your peace does not diminish theirs. And their envy is not your burden to carry. How then do we respond? First, by refusing to shrink. Do not silence your happiness for the comfort of the envious. If you had a good day, let it be spoken. If you felt joy, let it be shared. Their inability to celebrate is their chain, not yours. Second, by choosing wisely where to place your joy. Not everyone deserves to hold your treasures. Some hearts are open, others are closed. Share your stories with those who can smile with you, laugh with you, breathe with you. Let the envious sit in their own shadows while you walk toward the light. For seniors, each day of joy is a gift. Do not waste it by handing it to someone who will only crush it. Life is too short to trade peace for poisoned companionship. Remember this truth. Your joy is sacred. Your peace is not negotiable. And your light has the right to shine, whether others approve or not. So when envy surrounds you, whisper to yourself, I will not shrink. I will not dim. My joy is mine to keep. And then step back, leaving the envious to battle their own shadows. The Buddha said, as rain falls equally on the just and the unjust, let your joy fall freely, without fear. Let your light remain, untouched by envy, glowing for yourself and for those who can truly rejoice with you. We have spoken of 5 kinds of people who quietly eat away at the soul: the boaster, the complainer, the manipulator, the critic, and the envious. But knowing who they are is only half the journey. The harder step, the step many seniors fear, is learning how to step away. Why is this so difficult? Because we believe letting go means cruelty. We think, if I withdraw, they will feel hurt. If I say no, they will think I am selfish. If I leave, I will be alone. But the Buddha taught, holding on to what causes suffering is not kindness, it is ignorance. Letting go is not hatred. Letting go is love for your own peace, and even love for them, because you refuse to support their harmful patterns. Imagine you are holding a burning coal. You grip it because you fear that dropping it will seem rude, ungrateful, or unkind. But the longer you hold it, the deeper it burns into your flesh. True wisdom says, release the coal not in anger, but in clarity. So how do we release relationships that poison us? 1. Begin with clarity. Recognize what each connection costs you. After every gathering, ask, do I feel lighter or heavier? If you consistently feel drained, your soul is telling you the truth. 2. Set gentle boundaries. You do not need to cut ties with a sword. Sometimes you simply shorten your time with them. Decline an invitation politely. Limit how long you stay. Create space without creating drama. 3. Speak with compassion, but firmness. If words are needed, choose them carefully. I care for you, but I must take care of my health. I appreciate our history, but I need more quiet in my life now. These are not excuses. They are truths spoken gently. 4. Trust the silence. When you step back, guilt will whisper. Others may gossip. Loneliness may knock. But trust the silence. The Buddha said, better to walk alone than with a crowd that leads you astray. Walking alone is not failure. It is freedom. 5. Rebuild with light. As you release toxic ties, seek companions who lift you. A single kind friend is worth more than a room full of draining faces. Join circles that bring peace sanghas, meditation groups, book clubs, gardens, or simply the quiet company of nature. For seniors, This step is not about isolation. It is about choosing carefully who earns your time. Life is too precious, too fragile, to be wasted on relationships that leave your spirit bruised. Remember this truth. Letting go is not the end of love. It is the beginning of peace. When you step away, you are not saying, "I hate you." You are saying, "I choose life. I choose peace. I choose freedom." The Buddha taught, just as a snake sheds its skin, we must shed what no longer serves us. In shedding, you do not lose yourself, you find yourself. So, dear listener, take courage. If a person drains you, step back. If a group exhausts you, leave quietly. If a tie burns your hand, release it. And as you let go, know this: you are not walking into emptiness. You are walking into the open arms of peace. You have walked through 7 truths tonight. Why we feel trapped in draining relationships, the 5 faces that steal our peace, and the gentle ways to step back with compassion. And perhaps, as you listened, you saw faces in your own life. A friend who boasts until you feel small. The neighbor who complains until the world feels heavy. The one who manipulates with guilt. The critic who chips away at your confidence. The envious who cannot celebrate your joy. It hurts to admit it, doesn't it? Because part of you still feels loyal, still feels guilty, still fears being alone. But listen to this truth. You are not alone. The Buddha taught, your own self is your refuge. Who else could be your refuge? In protecting your peace, you are not betraying anyone. You are finally honoring yourself. Loneliness is not cured by filling a room with the wrong people. It is cured by sitting in peace with the right ones, or even in silence with yourself. So if you choose to step back, do not fear. When you release the hands that hurt you, you open your palms to receive the blessings of calm. When you close the door to the voices that poison you, you open the window to the voices that heal. And when you say enough to the people who drain your soul, you whisper yes to the life still waiting for you. Remember, you are not selfish for protecting your spirit. You are wise. You are strong. And in these later years, when your days are precious, wisdom means choosing peace over poison. So may you walk gently, with kindness in your heart, but with strength in your steps. May you surround yourself with those who lift you, not those who pull you down. And may your soul rest in the calm that comes not from clinging to every tie, but from releasing the ones that no longer serve you. Peace is not found in the crowd. Peace is found in the clear, quiet heart.